Okay, so there's just a request that, like yesterday we had the selected mantras from the Vedas. So we have a selected mantras from the Upanishads. So this paper you can keep in front because I will not be doing the way yesterday we did. So I'll be discussing about these mantras time to time through the discussion, during the discussion. So that you can keep in front. So we were discussing about the content of the Upanishads, the content as the Brahma Vidya. And towards this Brahma Vidya, we find in each Upanishad an approach. Like each Upanishad enters into this realm of Brahma Vidya through a different door. So what are these doors? And this is where lies the uniqueness of each Upanishad, or distinct feature of each Upanishad. So we will start, exploring were the ways. Now, Isha Upanishad, which is considered to be the earliest among all the Upanishads. And in fact, this is the only Upanishad which is part of the Vedic Samhita, Veda Samhita. There is a Shukla Yajurveda of Yajnavalkya. So this is the 40th chapter, the last chapter. This is the only Upanishad which is a part of the Vedas. Now here, in this Upanishad, Yajnavalkya, he speaks of his revelation. And this Upanishad is entirely concerned with the problem of the world and life and works and the human destiny in their relation to the supreme truth of the Brahman. And in this Upanishad is outlined a program for a life divine. When Sri Aurobindo started commenting on this Upanishad, he gave this title to the commentary, Life Divine. Though his commentary is available in a smaller version, but he had written a commentary of around 600 to 700 pages only on Isha Upanishad, on these 18 mantras. Just these 18 mantras, and you have a 600-700 pages commentary from Sri Aurobindo. So vast, so deep is the knowledge which is given by Yajnavalkya in a very condensed form in these 18 verses. It speaks of the divine life, how to live a right life, a true life. Sometimes we hear about the middle path of the Buddha, escaping from the sorrows and ignorance in order to experience the life, the happiness of life. But much before Buddha came, in Isha Upanishad we find this higher level of middle paths of delivering ourselves from all kinds of darkness, ignorance, suffering, miseries, and experience the Ananda, the ever-existing Ananda, forever. But not by escaping from life or any aspect of life, any activities of the life. This is the content of this Upanishad. It reconciles the principles at the individual level, at the cosmic level, at the ultimate reality level, at the Brahman level. So it links the gods, the supreme reality, the individual life, the world. And then offers us a way by which we can live the true life. The keynote of this Upanishad is Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. And in this just Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. 4 words. The whole philosophy of or the realizations of the Vedic seers are condensed. That in this creation there is nothing which is devoid of the presence of Isha, the Supreme Reality. And the peculiarity of expression you can see here, that Isha Vasyam, it is not that I have created something and then I have given it to the world for use and I have nothing to do with it. He says, Isha Vasyam, why has he created? Why the Lord has created this universe? What is the purpose? This is again condensed in this expression. It says the God has created this world with the purpose of living in His own world and experience His potentiality through everything and being in this world. So He inhabits in each and everything. So He has made His home, dwelling place, in everything and being. Whatever He has created, He lives in it and enjoys Himself through that. Enjoyment of His own delight is the purpose. So Isha Vasyam. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. By Idam means this Jagat, this creation. Idam Sarvam, everything. Then it says Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. The next expression is Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. You have this verse printed on this paper, the first verse. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. Again, beautiful expression that this creation is called Jagat. Jagat comes from the root sound gam, means to move. It's not a static creation, it's a movement. And it's not a single movement. It's a movement within the movement. Yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Whatever is moving in this movement. So there is a bigger movement and a smaller movement is a part of that cycle. Still there is a smaller. Or if you start from the smaller, there is a bigger movement, there is a bigger movement, there is a bigger movement, there is a bigger movement. There is no end to it. It's a cycle within the cycle. It's a movement within the movement. So everything is weaved together. And everything is interlinked. Nothing in this creation is separate from each other. So there is a deeper link of everything with everything. Every being with every being. And there is an interaction which goes on. And this is not a static thing, it moves. Because it moves, it changes also. Every movement is a change. So every moment there is a new thing happening. There is a change happening. So it's a change within the change, within the change, within the change. But in this change, what the realization of the Rishi is that there is one thing which doesn't change. That changeless Isha, Supreme Reality, is the support of all movements. If that support is not there, that movement will not be there. That creation will not be there. And that changeless is present in every change, because that is the support. And the realization is that the ultimate knowledge, the ultimate realization is to know that changeless and live in that changeless, or be in this world and act, not getting rid of any action, not getting rid of any karma, but karma as an expression of the realization of the changeless. Reflecting that in every action. So, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. And because the very purpose of the Isha, that one reality becoming many. The purpose is enjoyment. So everyone's purpose here is also to enjoy. That enjoyment is an integral part of every conscious being. So everyone wants to enjoy. No one wants to. A simple thing you can take, that no one wants to die. In spite of the most, difficult, someone who is suffering intensely, also there is a, slight ray of happiness, hope, that can I live? That is because the supreme reality, the nature of supreme reality is all bliss, ananda, and enjoyment of ananda. Why we want to live? Because we want to enjoy. We want to enjoy that happiness, enjoy that ananda. But are we enjoying in the right way or not? We are not living the right kind of life because we don't know the art and science of enjoyment. We don't know how to enjoy. Yesterday we had the discussion about bhaga. This whole concept of bhaga, because bhaga knows this power, this force, this divine element in us, known as bhaga. When we grow more and more conscious of this bhaga in us, we know how to enjoy things. Therefore it says, Isha vasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grudha kasyasvid dhanam. So therefore, enjoy this world. Because the purpose of Isha is enjoyment. Enjoying what? Enjoy the delight of existence. Because He is all delightful. Because the all delightful is living in me, I must grow conscious of that delight and enjoy that delight in everything and being and in every action I am involved in. Tyaktena bhunjita. See how it is reconciling the God and the world. Tyaga and bhoga. Tyaktena bhunjita. It doesn't say that escape this world. Go to Himalaya and sit in some cave. Close all doors. Just be with yourself. It doesn't say that. No, that's not the purpose. Be in the world. Enjoy the world. Bhunjita. Because the world is meant for enjoyment. If you don't enjoy, you are not participating in the divine act. Because the act of divine is to enjoy. He is the Lilamaya. He is the Anandamaya. He has created this creation. He has created everything for His enjoyment. If someone is not enjoying, you are violating the divine rule. Enjoy it. But how to enjoy? Then it outlines Tyaktena, with Tyaga. And it's not something very big that one has to be a Tyagi. By Tyagi we mean like we have to abandon everything and give up everything and then roam like a mendicant. So that's not the Tyagi. Again a violation of the divine rule. The Tyaga has to be the inner renunciation of all our desires which belong to the lower nature. The sense of possession, because we want to possess everything. Therefore the last line it says, Ma grudha. Don't have greed for anything. Don't try to possess anything as your own, because remember, Isha vasyam. Because everything belongs to the divine. You cannot make it your own and say that it is mine. You can say that when you realize yourself as the divine. Then. So as long as this sense of possession, this greed exists in us, we don't enjoy the world. Do you know in the practical day-to-day life, which are the things, which are the moments when we enjoy the maximum? Any example? It's a real enjoyment. And we again and again want to come back to that.
Being in family, when you give.
But still, yes. You see, when you look at the sunrise, maximum happiness and enjoyment. Why? Because there is no sense of possession. You don't say, yeah, today it's my sunrise, I'll take the sun home. The sense of possession is not there. We're completely free from that. So the enjoyment level is maximum. You come out and say, whoa, what a view. The moment you try to capture it in your camera, you finish the enjoyment. You try to possess it for yourself, making it my own, my photography, and send it to the photography competition and get the first prize. You have finished the enjoyment. Yeah, there's no enjoyment. Just to be with it, without any sense of possessing it in any manner. That's the enjoyment.
Look at the beautiful flowers.
Anything. They're not ours. But the moment you try to, I'll take it and put it, arrange my home. I'll put it in the vase. You're trying to possess it. But when this sense of possession is not there, one's enjoyment is maximum. One can still be with everything. You don't need to give up the world for that purpose. Still enjoy it to the maximum. Because we don't know how to enjoy because of this sense of possession. So that is why one principle is laid down, the divine principle is that always remind yourself that everything belongs to the divine, nothing yours.
So, what is the best thing to possess on the world?
Best thing is to possess that which is the center of everything, which is the support of everything, without which nothing can be done. So possess yourself. The highest possession is the Atma-jnana. So therefore the seers and sages, repeatedly says, Atmanam Vidhi, Atmanam Vidhi, Atmava Are Drashtavya, Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya. So no sense of possession. Ma grudha kasya swit dhanam. Never have greed for anyone's possessions. And that anyone, kasyasvid, includes you also. Not that I have no greed on others, but I have greed on my own. No. The very fact that greed should not be there. The sense of possession should not be there. There are plenty of examples that we see. The people who lived in opulence, in abundance, but without clinging to their own thing. Take example of Sri Aurobindo, take example of Swami Vivekananda. What opulence, what kind of wealth they lived. The whole world's wealth was as if, like at their feet. But no clinging to it. Because they didn't want, the sense of possession is not there because they lived in their divine nature. When we grow more and more conscious of our divine nature, the sense of possession, all that belongs to the lower nature, the lower prakriti, which creates the problem, maximum problem. All our problems are rooted in that because of that lower prakriti, our clinging to the lower prakriti. Then we don't realize the divine nature of ours. There was a person who lived, he was the richest person in that area. Name anything he had. So one day, a sadhu happened to be at his place. So they had lunch together, delicious foods. The sadhu never, relished such kind of food. He was very happy and ate everything nicely. They were chit-chatting. And then the sadhu said to this man that you all, live so happily with so much of wealth. But look at me. I'm happy, I have nothing, I am happy. And we have left everything. But you all are clinging to your own wealth and all these things. The sadhu was trying to give some jnana to the rich person. But the rich person was a realized person. He said, no, nothing like that. Even though I live in the opulence, I have everything, but I have no clinging towards all these things. So whenever the call comes, I'll give up everything and then go. What is that? I have no attachment. The sadhu said, is it so easy that you can give up? For me, when I left my home, it took 2 years to control myself and then give up this attachment with my family and all these things. Every night I used to cry what my child will be doing, my wife will be doing and all these things. But still I worked hard on myself. Now I have reached a stage I have. So he said, for me also I did the same thing. By being in the family, I didn't have to give up the family. But I have got rid of my attachment. The sadhu laughed at him and said, it's just, like saying like this doesn't make any sense. So if I call you, come with me, will you come? He said, I'm waiting for the call. You call or anyone calls. He said, okay, then come. So he got up and started working with the sadhu. And after they have covered 5-6 kilometers, the sadhu said, my God, I forgot my kambal and the lota. How do I manage? Well, that's the only possession of mine. Then the rich man said, look, this is the difference. I left my entire riches and came, and I am not going to return. And you are still clinging to your lota and kambal. Even though you have given up everything, but still this sense of possession is still gripping you. And literally the sadhu returned to get back his kambal and lota, and the rich man, he walked. Never returned. This is what is tena tyaktena bhunjita. He enjoyed everything with the tyaga bhava. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. He lived with that feel always that he belongs to the divine. Everything belongs to the divine. Everything, every little thing he spent, it was spent for a divine purpose. So he enjoyed the maximum. So maximum enjoyment comes when we become free from this sense of possession and live with this feeling. The only key is that everything belongs to the divine. Because everything belongs to the divine, I have no right to possess for my own, my selfish interest. Then if I have to have this tyaga bhava, should I abstain from all action? Become nikamma? Nikamma means nishkarma, without any action? Or should I participate or not participate in the world? Then the very next mantra, not here, not printed here in the Upanishad, it says no. There is no way that you can enjoy by abstaining from the action. The divine rule is not that. The divine rule is a kurvan neveha karmani jijiviset chatam samaha. Look at how beautifully they have put it. Kurvan neveha karmani. Kurvan eva iha. Iha means here in this world, in this life, in this body. Kurvan karmani. Continuing with your action. Jijiviset satam samaha. And desire and aspire to have a complete life of 100 years. Satam samaha. Not escaping from this world. Evam tvaya nanyathe tosti na karma lipyate narai. He said, when you have this aspiration of living a complete life of 100 years by doing action with the bhava of tyaga, that is the rule. There is no other way. And when one performs all his actions, physical, emotional, mental, by being in the world, with this sense of everything belongs to the divine, I am divine, with no sense of possession, not giving oneself to the lower Prakriti, lower nature, he is not bound by his karma. Na karma lipyate nare. He is not bound by nara. Like in the Gita, the same thing is translated again when Krishna says, Arjuna, if I don't do action, because nothing is left for me to do. I have reached this stage, I have nothing if I don't do action. But it is not necessary for me to do any action. But if I don't do action, if I don't engage myself in an action, this whole world will perish. So I have to continue with my action. The avatar says, the divine himself says that action, without action, the continuity will not be there. One pushes back oneself to so many years, hundreds of years. So action, action, action. But how the action has to be performed? Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. This is the rule. Isha vasyam idam sarvam. Then it says, andham tamah pravishanti eke chatma hano jana. There are people who do not engage themselves in action. It's not there. I'm telling from Isha Upanishad. All those who do not participate in the action, they are not feeding their self. They are not helping their selves in its growth. So they kill their selves. They are atmahan jana. They are atmaghati. Atmaghati means they kill themselves. And these are the people who enter into a blinding darkness and remain there forever in that blinding darkness, state of blinding. For them there is no release. Andham tamah pravishanti eke chatma hano jana. Then it gives a description of, when it says that this is the Isha, it starts with Ishavasyam. So after mentioning this rule, what is the purpose of this creation? How one has to live in this world, with what attitude? How the enjoyment can be real? And all those who do not give themselves for action, what is their conditions, what happens to them? Then it explains in few verses about what is the nature of this Isha. It says this Isha is tadejati tannaijati taddure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bahyata. He says the nature of this Isha, who inhibits in everything and being in this creation for his own enjoyment, is the one who is immobile. But at the same time, he is the mobile. Isha is the Supreme Lord. Isha. Tad ejati tannaijati. So his nature is that he can move and he cannot move. By being immobile, he moves. He himself is immobile, but he moves. Because he moves, the world is there. If he doesn't move, the creation will not be there. But he himself is immobile. Remember, if his nature was not immobile, then also the creation will not be there. Because who will support this movement? The support is needed. He is the support, he is the movement. Tadejati tadnaijati taddure tadvantike. He is at the same time far, he is at the same time near. Tadantarasya sarvasya, that resides in everyone's inside, within. Tadu bahyata. Tadu sarvasya bahyata. It is within and without. So it gives a nature. This is what is the nature of the Isha. Then it says that if the gods, even gods, trying hard to cross him, always find him in the front. Because he is everywhere, so you always find him in the front. Even though he is immobile, he doesn't run, but all those who run always find him in the front. This is the description of Isha. Then the most beautiful realization of the Rishi and the principles, like what is the highest realization, how we should live in this world, carrying this sense of all, always, and feeling the presence of that supreme reality, that Isha, within and without. The next two verses which are printed there, it says, Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. Yes, then yasmin sarvani bhutani atmeva bhut vijanatah tatra ko mohakah shokah ekatvam anupasyata. These are again two most important verses in the Upanishads which have been further elaborated in the like other scriptures in the Gita, in Upanishads, other Upanishads. It says, Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati. Because God is all and lives in all. So yah sarvani bhutani, all beings, sees within himself. Because his self is not different from the self in others. His consciousness is not different from the consciousness in others. The consciousness, the very energy which is the support, which is the Isha. Because the Isha is everything, so I must see that Isha in everything and being. And everything and being in myself, and myself in everything and being. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyeva nupashyati. And sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam. And in all beings I see myself. So everything is Brahman. That Brahman resides in me, the same Brahman resides in other beings, other things. So I must see myself reflected in everything and being. So then I have a... Yeah. Here Isha word is used in the sense of Brahman, the Supreme Reality. So, but there is a difference which I will be discussing about it, Isha. There is a difference between the, like Brahman is, but here the Isha word is used in a particular sense, particular aspect of the Brahman who is the ruler, the inner ruler.
So this shloka can directly be related to empathy and compassion.
Can be like, see, when one sees oneself in everything and being in oneself, so one develops this universal love and compassion for everything and being. And doesn't, at the same time, it doesn't get affected by any happening. Now getting affected, because the next verse again it will elaborate, so getting affected by some happening or by something means still the duality exists. You see that, oh, he is suffering. He is suffering.
But if you don't suffer, if the person is in front of you, they think you don't.
But, wouldn't? No, not. To remain in that state of equanimity and oneness, not to be affected by whatever happens as the divine will. To, yes, happens here or there, not to be affected. But the moment this, like one is affected, disturbed, the duality exists still. If the oneness exists, one is not disturbed. Next verse, it says, Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanatah. So in whom that supreme Isha has become the Atman. And one who knows this, one who has reached this stage of realization, that sees that it is the Isha who has become the Atman in everything and being and in myself. And then he has this sense of oneness, he establishes this sense of oneness and equanimity, equality. He says, Ekatvam anupasyatah, one who is equal, one who has established this oneness, tatra ko moha kah shoka. How can there be grief, illusion? Or even, it's not to do with empathy or compassion or anything, it is beyond that. It is going beyond, transcending above. So that's why it says, Kah shoka kah moha. When I am established that oneness in me and see, I see, I hear, I smell that oneness, that one Brahman, then how can there be shoka? Because shoka belongs to the relative world, not to the world of absolute. And in the relative world we have got fear, we have got suffering, desire and everything. And the realization of Isha is to deliver ourselves or transcend beyond the relative world and have an entry into the absolute state of existence. But by being in the absolute state of existence, it is again not a complete departure from the relative world, but operating from the absolute state of existence, the activities of the relative world. So one has to remain in this world, in this phenomenal world. There is no point. The scriptures do not say that escape. Although in India what happened, there were these two streams, again like the Buddhism, Jainism, and in Hinduism also there are sects which created this, even Shankaracharya's Mayavada, like everything is Maya, Jagat is Mithya. That has created, that has pushed Indian spirit, the spirit of Indian people so many hundreds years before. That's why people are sleeping. The Upanishads do not say that. That's why Swami Vivekananda, his interpretation of the Vedanta, the practical Vedanta, is that Shiva's Tandava, that dynamism, but with this sense of Isha as a ruler. He is the inner and outer ruler, the only ruler. To experience him, remember him, realize him, be guided by that, and be regulate all our actions by that force is the secret of living the true life or right kind of life.
So you said Maya Mithya, this concept is not there in the Upanishad.
No.
So how do we
Maya is there, but it is a different meaning. How they relate? See, there is a realization, so there is a speculation, which they want to establish it. Even though they realize certain thing, but for the establishment of that speculative idea, so they bring in so many other elements to prove them as right. That is what is the darshan does.
But what vocabulary do they use?
Maya.
They use those words in Upanishad.
In Upanishad, the Maya word is used in different sense. We will come to that. What is Ishvara? What is Purusha? What is Prakriti? What is Maya? What is Shakti? What is Atman? What is Brahman? These are the key words. Now when it says, so let's come to this aspect, then it...
The Sukha and Shoka, these are all transitory state of being. Sukha means?
No, Sukha, see, there is a Sukha at the outer level. But Sukha in its essential form is that permanent, that eternal Ananda.
That is also permanent, eternal.
Sukha is eternal, but there is it manifests in the outer world in a deformed manner. What we call like little happiness, little pleasures, sensual pleasures, delights, that the worldly happiness is a deformed stage of that Ananda. If Ananda was not there at the basis, like at one point Sri Aurobindo questions this, who can become weak? Who has the right or power to become weak? He says only who is the capable, who is Shaktiman, he can become weak. Otherwise, he can never get up. If the Shakti was not there at the basis, the weak one, he becomes weaker, and then perishes. Because the weak can get up, that Shakti is at the basis. Then he says, who can enjoy, who can become Dukhi, Nirananda? Kaha Niranandam Bhuktam Utsaheta. Yah Sarvanandamaya. If the Sarvanandamaya is not there, if the Ananda is not there, we will perish in the Nirananda. Once the Nirananda happens, we will perish in that Nirananda. So the whole, like pain and pleasure, this play goes on. Once we have the pain, it doesn't mean that, we have never experienced that, okay, we remain in that pain eternally. Because there is Ananda at the root, there is a possibility that we can come back. Not possibly, there is a assured hope that we will come back again to Ananda.
What is the English synonym for Ananda?
Bliss, delight.
Happiness is somewhere down.
Bliss, delight, joy. But is
Come together.
so usually they use the word delight, ecstasy.
English is less rigid, less.
For convenience, we can have all these words to understand.
What is the root sound of Ish? Isha?
Ish.
Ish. So Ish sound is again then Ishvara, Isha.
Yes.
Does it have anything to do with, because Isha is also considered as the same sound is used for that Nisa Matina.
So the root sound is E. See. E is the root sound. See how it operates is that you have, say, A, it has a long syllable A. Then you have E, it has a long syllable E. Now, A refers to the absolute state of existence, the supreme. Therefore, Krishna says, Aksharanam Akarosmi. The absolute state of existence is A. Now, what the long syllable does is that it draws that energy, primal energy, and pushes it to manifest and appear. So therefore with A, you have Akasha, you have Ananda. It draws that energy, the primal energy, the potential, and makes it appear. Okay. Similarly, E is the sound of relative existence. Relative existence. Okay. Where you have Icha, desire, coming from the same, like it starts with E, Icha. Okay. E means to go, movement, all dynamic in the relative existence. At the absolute state, it is all static. At the relative state, it's all dynamic. Because the whole world affair goes on. Now when you say E, it is intensifying and drawing the energy of E, Icha. That Icha becomes a ruling desire. When desire intensifies, it changes to ruling. So Ishvara.
That becomes predominant.
Yeah, predominant. So Ishvara. So this is how the language has developed from the primal sounds towards the words and the sentences and this thing. But for that we need to know what are the primal sounds, the primal experiences behind these sounds, fundamental sounds. So therefore in our in the Sanskrit tradition, each letter has so many meanings. A has so many meanings. And you find above 40 Ekakshara koshas. Ekakshara kosha means these dictionaries, the lexicons, they have outlined and given us the meanings of each letter. What does A mean? What does E mean? What does U mean? What does K mean? What does K mean? H mean? And again, when K combined with E becomes Ki, what does Ki mean? What does Ku mean? What does K mean? What does Kai mean? All letters. Around 40 Ekakshara koshas one has. And Tantra Abhidhana, Tantric koshas. The Tantric tradition, Kashmir Shaivism, has gone very deep into exploring the meanings, the experiences behind the fundamental sounds. That defines, like whole, like affair of the language. The Shabda Jagat and the Artha Jagat. The sound and the world of sound and sense. So when we understand at that level and understand Sanskrit language, learn the language by going deep to the root level, this language becomes very easy. And we can understand the deeper aspect, deeper concepts which are there in our scriptures. So why Sri Aurobindo is important is like he interpreted the Vedas, Upanishads, Gita, Kalidas, Bhartruhari by going deep into the root sound. And by considering all the fundamental experiences behind the root sounds. So that is why when you go to the new volume which has come, the Philological and the Vedic studies, so you find like how much, it's actually taken from, this volume has many notes from his notebooks. What experiment he did with the sounds. He will write down certain root sounds and then find the Tamil equivalents, Greek, Latin and other languages, then compare and show how at the fundamental level, at the basic level, the similarity is there in the experience. So his whole idea of working, giving this new philology, was to get into the fundamental experiences of the humanity and reduce everything into the fundamental experiences of the humanity. And then understand all affairs of the language, or whatever is expressed through the language, by considering the fundamental experiences. So that is why it's very deep and very clear and transparent meaning that of the scriptures we get from Sri Aurobindo. I'll give you a simple example like the word Chhatra. How will you translate Chhatra? You have heard the word Chhatra? Any translator, you see, invariably have translated it as umbrella. But Chhatra is not umbrella. So by translating Chhatra as umbrella, you are limiting the root sense. It is vast. So Chhatra comes from the root sound chad, to cover. So I can take this and cover my head. So at this moment, this is Chhatra for me. But if you translate it as umbrella, it creates a definite shape. You are limiting the root sense. Okay. So it can be rain shade, sun shade, any shade, any covering.
Words are vast and open, and very open to interpretation, context, time, and everything.
Yeah, true.
So tomorrow, after another 500 years, another person will come and
with a new realization, it will change.
It will remain the same. What will remain the same? Isha Upanishad will remain the same. Talla Upanishad will remain the same. But probably there will be another Visha or another, I'm just saying.
Can be, yes.
Who will interpret it in that context, that situation.
Why another? But now also there are so many people who have interpreted differently.
The language has that richness and variety.
It offers all these possibilities. Depending upon in which state of consciousness one is, one understands that much. And
No other language offers that. Right?
No.
Every other language definitely the shape that comes to mind.
So when you say the sound refers to the absolute existence, and R is the consciousness.
I is still the helps in manifesting and bringing into light that absolute state.
I see that generally male names and with the short and the female names.
Is that's because what helps in manifestation is the feminine energy. Is feminine in nature. Yes, it is feminine in nature. So that is why Maya is feminine. Aditi, Prakriti. You see, it's without Prakriti, no manifestation takes place. This is the feminine energy.
Sir, in this word,
Ekatvam anupashyata. Ekatvam anupashyata. Okay. So, ekatvam anupashyata. Tatra ko moha kah shoka. One becomes free from this moha and shoka by establishing ekatva and samatva. Then there is one verse number 9 to 15, 14. 9, 10, 11. Ekatvam anupashyata. Anupashyata means like seeing it continuously. So now, this when we read the Isha Upanishad, we find another most important part of the Isha Upanishad and very contradicting and paradoxical in nature is the verses 9 to 14. 9, 10, 11 and 12, 13, 14. Where it says that is that supreme reality or the Ishvara of the nature of knowledge or ignorance, of this or that. Vidya and Avidya, it says, and very paradoxically it says, Andham tamah pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yayu vidyayam rata. Now look at the intensity here. It says, all those who have given themselves to avidya, they enter into a state of blinding darkness. Okay? All those who have given themselves to avidya. Avidya is usually translated as ignorance. They enter into a blinding darkness. Then it says, Tato bhuya ivate tamo yayu vidyayam rata. And all those who have given themselves exclusively to the vidya, they enter into a greater darkness. So here one will give up, close all the Upanishads book and they say that enough is enough.
Obviously, I think the thing is not to go to extremes.
Yeah, that's there. But it says that all those who have exclusively given themselves to avidya, they enter into a blinding darkness. Even to a greater darkness, they enter all those who have given themselves exclusively to vidya. So should we have this workshop and reflections and reading and all these things or not? Or entering into a greater darkness? Or call ignorance is the bliss? Now here the vidya and avidya have to be understood properly in its right sense. And I'm telling you with this thing, go and read any commentary. Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Sridhar Swami, all the acharyas, all the people who have written on this vidya and avidya. You will be entering into greater darkness. I'm telling you. No clarity. Only answer you get in Sri Aurobindo. You read it for yourself and then come and tell me. I have read. These two verses, Sri Aurobindo doesn't translate Vidya, Avidya as ignorance and knowledge. He says Avidya in this context is the knowledge of multiplicity. Multiplicity. Avidya is also knowledge. Knowledge of multiplicity. And Vidya is the knowledge of unity. Vidya is knowledge of unity. Unity of consciousness.
Then why will you go to more darkness?
Yeah, I'm telling you. When it says that when someone is exclusively concentrated on avidya, means the knowledge of multiplicity, is exclusively engrossed in the multiplicity in the relative world, he definitely is in ignorance. Ignorance of what? So here the point is exclusive concentration. Ignorance is the result of exclusive concentration. Ignorance is the result of exclusive concentration. So when someone is exclusively concentrated on one thing, rest part is ignored. This is ignorance. So when someone is exclusively concentrated on the multiplicity, so he is ignorant of a greater thing, that is the unity. So he definitely goes into the blinding darkness. And for the one who is exclusively concentrated on the unity, neglecting the multiplicity, which is also the manifestation of the unity of consciousness, so he is still in a greater darkness because he is neglecting something great. Yes, so he says that seeing the unity in multiplicity, seeing the unity of consciousness in the multiplicity, and seeing the whole multiplicity in the unity is the way. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevanupashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. So this is where the difference came. Seeing the unity in multiplicity and the multiplicity in seeing the whole in one and one in whole. So that is why he says Vidyamcha avidyamcha yastat vedo bhayam saha. One who knows the Vidya, one who knows the unity and the multiplicity, both, he has the knowledge. Yes, same series. Yes, same series. Yes. Then it says that Sambhutincha Vinasancha. All those who are exclusively concentrated on the birth, they don't have the right knowledge. All those who are concentrated only on the Vinasha, they also. So, Sambhuti and Vinasa, one has to know both birth and death, whole story of birth and death. Seeing death in birth and birth in death, one escapes, one goes beyond this cycle. 9 to 14. 9, 10, 11 about Vidya and Avidya. 12, 13, 14 is birth and death. This is the greatest contribution of Isha Upanishad. That how the life, what is to be realized.
So basically,
What is the right way to live in this world? With what knowledge? What is the ultimate knowledge? Vidya and Avidya together.
because both are divine.
If both are divine, then the knowledge becomes complete. No? One has to see the unity. Ultimately, it is the unity of consciousness. Seeing that unity, the presence of unity in the whole, in the mass. And seeing the whole in that one. Because in that one contains everything. So that is why in other Upanishads you say that yathorna nabhi srujate gruhnate cha. How is this creation? That one, it extends itself, it brings out the whole creation from within. Like a spider, it brings out its web from its navel. And then it gathers back everything into its navel.
So where Krishna speaks
Again, I'll tell you the story that when we speak about this Urnanabha, then biologically we don't find any spider, taking it out and then bringing it back. So maybe that species lost, which was available during that time. So there was maybe the spider, otherwise they would not give this example. So not the present species of the spider. So maybe it's lost. So it takes out the whole web and then creates and then gathers back everything into itself, remaining in the same status.
So is there two kinds of birds dies to an extent when to die? It doesn't come back and it stays.
Who? What?
We don't see them dying on the ground.
You don't see dying whom?
The birds and the crows also flying.
No, they are.
They get eaten.
Chronologically speaking, when was the Isha?
I don't know. Historicity, I'm very poor in history.
So, were all these at the same time or was there
No.
one after that?
No, it is not in the same time. There was, time difference is there definitely. But it is, like later in the Rig Veda. But at the same time, this, whatever one finds in this, the appearance of certain verses of Upanishad are there in the Rig Veda also. Yes. So it is there in the seed form and it's more realized and expressed clearly in the later age.
Isha and Yajurveda.
Isha belongs to the Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda. Again, difficult to say Shukla. Huh? By the story, if you go, Shukla is later. No, it's Ishopanishad. No. That is Ishopanishad. Okay, should we take break?
How do we say Isha Upanishad refers to Upanishad?
Because if we compare to other Upanishads, most of the Upanishads belong to the Brahmana Granthas, which are later, which are interpretative texts. But this is the Upanishad which belongs to the Veda Samhita. It is the part of the Vedas, Shukla Yajurveda. It is the last chapter of Shukla Yajurveda. Okay.
And so the others, they are more mixed up in time.
Huh.
But this is clearly the order.
Yes, sir. Okay.
And is there one author?
Huh. Yes. Yajnavalkya. Because the entire Shukla Yajurveda is a Yajnavalkya. So we take a break with silence to break.